Hey y'all, hey, happy Monday. Happy Monday. Come in for Mogul Mindset Mondays. It's been such a long time since I've done Mogul Mindset Mondays, but hey, we're here. So come in and let me know that you're here. It is Monday. Hopefully your Monday is being great to you and you are already getting to a great start to your week. Um, but Hey, A Marie. Hey, Coach A Marie. Um, Hopefully you're already getting a great start to your week and your Monday is going well. For me, it is Mogul Mindset Mondays, but I like to enter into my Mondays slow. That's what I like to do. So, if you're here, let me know that you're here so I can speak to you and acknowledge you. Share this with somebody who you know may need this information, because I'm going to be very targeted, very targeted about what you need to be paying attention to as you are seeking to elevate your business here in 2024. So, let me just get my notes. So, you all know I do money on Mondays. Okay, that's good. Mindset works too. Yeah, money and mindset go together. So, you all know that we are almost 6 months into the year. Like literally almost 6 months into the year. Hey Katura. Um, the year has basically already sped by, and I feel like we get to the point of like in this year, hey Tiffany, that or every year rather, where we feel like the year is just like flying by, like it's just going by so fast, things are happening so fast, and like time is just passing us. And what I've made sure of this year is that I was going to be more intentional about my time, who I gave my time to, what I gave my time to, where I was spending my time, how I was spending my time, and not just holding others accountable as to how they respect my time, but making sure I hold my own self accountable as to how I respect my time, because people can only respect what you respect yourself. That is a form of self leadership, right? So, I've been asking myself as so many things have been occurring this particular year. It's been a lot of mindset shifts for me. I mean, a ton of mindset shifts for me. It's been a lot of shifts in relationships for me this particular year, and things just look very different. So, the thing is that I'm making sure that here in 2024, because so much time has passed, and I'm not going to say that I've always been wise about that time, and that's just me having self accountability. One thing that I know that I am working on, especially in my spiritual season, is understanding the power of discernment, right? And understanding the power of exercising discernment, or getting to me closer to God so my discernment can elevate in the next season that I'm going into, right? And just as a overall growth practice for myself, because I'm the type of person that I don't lack opportunity. I really don't. I get lots of opportunities presented to me, but in this particular season here in 2024, I'm here to tell you that you cannot be starry eyed about all the opportunities that are being presented to you. You cannot spend your time and spread yourself thin trying to take upon every opportunity that is being presented to you. You have to exercise a very stern discernment in this season. You are not allowed anymore to waste any more time, because there is no more time to waste. I love what my coach was talking about yesterday. Shout out to Coach Jay, um, because she talks a lot about, the spiritual connections and the shifts with what's going on in like society and stuff like that. She knows how to break it down so beautifully in a way that I cannot do, right? But one of the things that has been standing out to me, because I have been noticing it as well myself, is that I do feel like we are going backwards. I really do feel like we are going backwards. And I've even caught myself in a little bit of deja vu, if you will, trying to understand why it feels like we are going backwards. Well, for me personally, I have always been somebody who particularly has been ahead of her peers. And that's not to brag, that's just the honest truth. When I listen to conversation, when I look at behavior, when I look at how people present themselves, when I'm in a room and I hear certain things, I'm like, okay, I can understand where that person is, but to some extent, like for me, it feels like going backwards because I'm like, okay, I've already been there, did that. And again, this is not out of arrogance, this is just out of self evaluation, right? So I'm trying to figure out like why have I been having like these moments of feeling like I'm kind of going backwards or where things seem like they're slowing down or something like that. And it's literally because one of, like she said in her live yesterday, I find myself being very, very innovative. Whenever I am in an environment that does not foster that innovation, I can't be in that environment. I just can't. I can't stand to be around people that move too slow, if that makes sense. And even talking to myself, I get frustrated at my own self when times where I know I should be moving faster than what I should be, or should be taking um authority, let me say it that way, in making the directive moves that I know I need to make, but sometimes I slow my feet. I really can't stand to be around people who move too slow. I can't really stand to be around people who think too slow either. And I say this again, not in an arrogant way, but because it's something that I realize for me and my personal growth, I have to continue going at the speed that I have to continue going at. My personal growth has been stunted because I have decided several times over my journey to try to wait for people to catch up to me when I should have just kept charging forward. Because at the end of the day, if I had just kept charging forward, there always would have been a path for them to continue to follow too. And they would eventually have kept caught up to me. But that was something that I wasn't mature enough to understand back then because, when you're coming up into the business space, and you're growing into yourself as a CEO, you want everybody to come with you. You want everybody to win all at the same time. You want everybody to like be focused on what it is that they're working on and that they're driving towards. And it might not always work out their way. And so what you have to do is you have to ground yourself in emotional intelligence and just understand to a certain extent that you can continue to cheer for these people, but they may not necessarily arrive when you arrive, and that's okay. You don't have to discount them. You can continue cheering them on. You don't have to disconnect from them, right? Unless it's unhealthy, right? We'll just say that. But you cannot allow yourself to be slowed down by um other people's hesitations. Let's put it that way, right? Everyone is preparing to rise with you, let them go and cut them loose, right? So you cannot be slowed down by other people's hesitations. You have to continue moving because as long as you continue moving and trailblazing, everybody that's connected to you in success, whether spiritually, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, hey Shamika, they are going to be able to still walk in your footsteps to their path to success. It's still going to be able to work. They just have to get there whenever they can get there. So I'm truly in a space now where if I say I'm looking to elevate my business in 2024, all of this stuff that I see up and down my timeline every day, and I've been slowly cleaning my timeline. Like when I say the block button has become my best friend, it has become my best friend. I've been cleaning my timeline. I've been way more intentional about what I want to see, who I want to engage with, because it shouldn't feel like a job, right? It should feel like something that you want to do because it's just a part of your business growth and your personal development growth to be engaging with peers that may be at a higher place that you are seeking to be, or just maybe in the same place that you may be currently on your journey. It should be fun and engaging. It should not feel draining and daunting. Okay. It should not feel draining and daunting. And whenever I get to the point to where I feel like my timeline is draining and daunting and I see a bunch of nonsense on my timeline or stuff that just doesn't make sense, but it's being glorified, knowing that people really need help with what it is that they have going on out here, it really, really grinds my gears. It really, really does. And like I said, this is gonna be a little heavy because I'm wanting to make sure that I'm being super intentional and helping you understand what your focus needs to be to elevate your business in 2024. All of this half, I don't want to cuss, but all of this half posting that you see people do just to be able to get engagement, the comment for comment, the like for like it's very draining. It's very, very draining. There's no intention behind it. Everybody's just like, oh, just post so you can get paid by Facebook. Listen, you need to be building yourself almost like a catalog to where people can learn from you. So when they stumble upon you, hey, the White House law, when they stumble upon you, they are able to binge upon your content and be able to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to be a great fit for them to work with or start paying attention to, right? So they can make a great informed decision. A lot of the people that I see on several different platforms, they just don't have their built right now. They don't have their built right now. And the thing is, it's very exactly, Coach A. Marie, is counterproductive. You need to lean into building a legacy. You need to lean into building a knowledge base. You need to lean into building a personal brand. Because regardless of whether you're a business owner, you're a career professional, whatever your choice may be, or if you're doing both, you need to lean into these things and show yourself approved. I don't care who you are. You never get enough of showing yourself approved, because if you feel like you have shown everything that you have to offer, you have not learned enough. If you feel like you are getting on these platforms every day, not knowing what to say, and you have ran out of things to share, you have not learned enough. You are not a thought leader in your field. And you need to take that more seriously when you're showing up in your content. Am I saying that you can't get on these platforms and shoot the crap sometime? No, that's not what I'm saying. Because you are going to see me, shoot the crap sometimes on certain platforms, depending on what I'm on. But even with that being said, my intention now is way more focused and way more clear. This is why I talk about clarity and confidence so much, because a lot of you are stuck at clarity and confidence. You don't even realize how stuck you are in it because you just become comfortable with it. So when people look to you to say, like, pay for a clarity session, you believe that does not align with you, and you rather just continue to keep going and spinning your wheels by yourself instead of paying for the clarity that you need so you can move forward. So you're not sitting here another year or in another 6 months or even in another 3 months to be able to say, like, what have I done? I cannot measure my progress because I didn't set anything to measure. I just got on here posting all willy-nilly, expecting people to buy from me or expecting people to see me or expecting people to acknowledge me in a certain kind of way. And I didn't really put up nothing to show for it. I ain't put no points on the board. I shot a couple shots, but they were air balls. Like, they didn't hit, right? So the thing is, now in 2024, to elevate your business, you have to be way more strategic. It's no more this faddish culture that you all have been conditioned to believe is effective and that it helps drive a change or initiative in a community, or like building a community online, or drive an impact with connecting people. It's not that anymore. You are literally in the season and in the era, not even a season, you're in the era now of where you have to show yourself approved. You can't just post pictures of you all day with just random uh captions and think that that's going to help people understand what it is that you do. No, it doesn't. It's not gonna click with them. It's not gonna register with them. You have to be intentional about the platforms that you are using, how you are approaching them, how you are building your skill set so you can effectively be able to articulate and communicate that, how you are going offline, even, and nurturing and creating relationships, building up relationships, and really, really investing into the power of connection, of community, really offline as well as online too. And y'all know how I feel about offline. To me, offline, there's more gold. And that's just my personal opinion. Because if y'all gonna be on the platform complaining about the algorithm all day, you might as well go offline and make some real connections anyway. That's just my personal opinion. Because there ain't no algorithm in the real world. Let's just be clear. Let's just be clear. Just be in the place, right? And make the most of where you are. Hey, Camille. Coach A. Marie, let me see what you're saying. Hear your voice, see the transformation. Right. So you need to, it's great for people to see you having family time. It's great for people to see you, being engaged, with what your children and stuff have going on. But ask yourself every time you post their family, every time you post those kids that you have, ask yourself, what sort of beautiful legacy are you leaving for them when you're doing stuff like that? It's great for you to do that, but do this too. Like, I'm not saying you have to do one or the other. I'm saying do both. Very seldom am I a person that says you have to do one or the other. I'm truthfully always leaning in and do both, right? So you all need to understand that there has to be a more dynamic approach to what you do in your business going into 2024, because the faddish stuff that the culture has led you all to believe for the past 3 years that has been kind of effective over the past 3 years is not going to cut it in 2024 and going beyond. You have to really show what you know. You have to really display your skill set. You cannot cover up behind posts that have no substance and no structure. You cannot. And just expect people to be like, oh, okay, I understand what she does, or oh, okay, I get her brand, or oh, okay, I'm connecting with her brand. It's not going to work anymore. So if you're somebody who is scared to educate their audience, who is scared to build a community through education, I'm telling you, if you have a skill set that you know you should be getting paid to educate people for, you are going to miss the train if you don't start building that content now. You're going to miss the train. And it's so crazy because I had my idea of wanting to, this is probably the first time I'm admitting this publicly, but I've had my idea of wanting to own an entrepreneurship school since 2017. And the shift that I'm seeing in the market is that now everybody is wanting to go into business education. And just like Coach Jay said yesterday, which I've been noticing a trend for the past couple of years, you have the universities now that are moving away from traditional programming because they're trying to save face in attendance. They're not getting the same attendance numbers that they have been getting over the years. They are lacking in attendance. So they are having to shift their curriculum and adapt or license programs from other people to be able to bring in stuff like a digital marketing certificate or executive leadership certificate. Like they're bringing in all of these programs that they never had before, stuff that they didn't even believe aligned with their university or their college's values as far as what they wanted to display to students. But now they're having to save face because enrollment is low. So now they're having to shift to what most small businesses are doing, which is like creating educational communities. They're having to shift into that by offering stuff like the digital marketing, the cybersecurity, the writing, the content writer certifications. Like I've seen all kinds of certifications. They've even grasped onto like herbal healing certification. I'm like, there's no way when I was coming up going to a traditional university that I would have been able to go to school for this and not even have to go to school for 4 years. They're letting you come in and complete it in a matter of weeks, which is typically somewhere between 3 to 4 months for most of them. So if you are not getting to the point to where you are creating some sort of educational hub, I don't care who you are. If you have mastered a skill set, you need to be creating some sort of educational hub, some sort of courses, digital products, whatever the case may be. And I was on track doing that several years ago, and then I stopped because I started paying attention to what was kind of faddish and what people were paying attention to. But I should have just kept constant with what I was doing because it eventually it would have caught up to what's actually happening now. I should not have ever stopped, right? But the good thing is now that I recognize the trend is coming back, and it's not a trend, it's really going to be a lifestyle because we're turning more into a skills-based society. We're going back. It's like I said, like we're living in the past again. America is trying to go backwards to like the Great Depression era where everybody had like skills, like trade skills. Everybody's trying to go back to that era now. Everybody's trying to get their money in the pot or stick their hand in the pot to like build trade and skills programs and get a portion of that from from the government and stuff like that. Like there's so much funding that's coming down the pipeline for these programs because they're trying to give these kids an alternative because they have seen a transition of their consciousness as far as academic wise that's not being applied in school, that now they have to figure out, well, how can we get in on the money train too, because we have a whole generation of kids that's not interested in going to college. And that was already said to be happening like way before it actually happened, right? The transition was slowly already happening, right? So everybody now is trying to figure out how do they get in on that and start to benefit from that. And again, like I said, it's like we're going back to the Great Depression over here in America, but like in the East, they're innovating. Their kids are light years ahead of us, and they're always going to be. They're always going to be, because they're always at least 5 to 10 years ahead of us in their innovation. They're very intentional about what they focus on. They're very intentional about what they develop. They don't allow the type of distractions in society like what we have over here in America. They don't allow those type of distractions over there in their society. They're very focused. And that's why they're able to live at a lower cost of living, if you will. They're able to have more peaceful lives. We wonder why they live so long. Like all of that. It's really, really like if you take the time to study it and really focus on it, like you will really, really learn a lot about the transition from the east to the west and the west to the east. So it's a lot of people over here now, like holistic medicine and all of that stuff is like coming back around, when there was a state here before, like around the time of the Indians and stuff like that, right? But all of that slowly drifted off because we came in and thought we were innovating things when really we were really disturbing things, right? But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. When they came over here and colonized everything, right? But in order for you to go forth and elevate in 2024, I posted this actually last week on my page, but I'm going to break it down in this video because I want you all to know how serious I am about it. You have to understand whether or not you're going to do one of three things or all of three things. And I want you all to hear me very, very clearly. Okay. And this can also, again, apply to career professionals as well. It does not have to just apply to business owners, but it should apply to career professionals and business owners. And you should take what you need to take and go ahead and start applying it. So, one of three things or all of three things, whatever you decide works for you, right? So a lot of us are in the space now because I've seen the transition, like I said, through content and stuff like that. A lot of us are in the space now of where we're trying to figure out like what should I post, what should I talk about, how should I go about it, who should I get in front of, how can I increase my reach, how can I do this, how can I do that? Like it's so much, right? The algorithm this, the algorithm that. It's a lot, right? But oftentimes when you feel like you're in um environments that cause you to do like underlying behaviors, you can start to revert back to old behaviors that you don't necessarily need to revert back to, right? So what I call comfort behaviors in this particular message, right? They would be areas of comfort, things that you used to do that you kind of just decided that you was going to pick back up and start doing, but they're not necessarily effective in this time, right? So hey official, hey Vanita. So here's the thing. When you feel like you are going back to practices that you let go of at a certain part of your journey that no longer serves you, you are either going to do one of these three things or maybe a combination of the three. But again, find yourself in what I'm saying and apply it to wherever you need to apply it in your business or your career, professional life, right? So you're either going to, one, go higher, which means you're going to aim for a higher and more affluent audience or a B2B business model. I cannot stress this enough. And I'm continuing my journey about learning the various ins and outs of the B2B process because there's so many different ways for you to get in. It's not just about corporate contracts. It's not just about government contracts. There's several different avenues that you can take. But I meet too many of you all that have B2B components of their business model or have the ability to serve a more affluent audience, but you're so comfortable with the hype or the engagement of what you see on a day-to-day basis online, it's hard to get you to focus on what that looks like outside of that. And so a lot of the times when you stay in smaller arenas too long, it can cause you to suffer, right? It's good while it's good, but then like when it dries up, when dry season hits, because I know they don't want to say it, even though it is what it is, we're in the middle of a recession. Inflation is not going anywhere. You're going to have to make more money. You're going to have to make more money. So if you have the ability for you to be able to come in and introduce a B2B or a more higher affluent audience into your business that you can serve with what it is that you do, you need to be figuring out how to do that right now because the inflation is not going to go down. It's only going to continue to go up. I know here just in the city of Memphis alone, they're talking about tax increases. And while it may seem small, I believe it was like 75 cents. why it may seem small. And I think President Biden just got through talking about some tax increases, I think, here recently. But why it may seem small here locally, that 75 cents adds up. It really does. So if you start looking at things like that and you start feeling more pressure than what you already are now, it's going to be really hard for you to grasp the concept when you start to even feel more pressure, because inflation is not going to go away. It's going to continue to go up because things over here, quote unquote, in America are not really changing. They're not really changing how they should be. Let's just put it that way. So you're either going to have to choose to thrive, which is you're going to have to work a little harder and aim a little higher so you can thrive instead of survive like you have been, which again, speaking to myself as well. Or you're going to just basically settle for where you are and just be okay with it. And either one is okay, but um just understand what comes with either one, whichever one you decide. Okay. So number one is go higher. Aim for a higher and more affluent audience or a B2B business model. And if you don't understand what that means or know how that can apply to your business, you should be getting in my DMs. I invite y'all to my DMs often. Some of y'all take the opportunity and some of you all do not. Okay. But here I am again, right? Number two, go wider. Reach more people, not to spread yourself thin, but to take a one to many approach that allows you to get in front of more people at one time so you can secure more opportunities in business. Okay. Go wider. So if you are a business owner or in a career or professional, a career professional, right? There are several, when I say several, professional development organizations that are suited for your industry, whatever it is that you are in. Several. It only takes you committing to maybe a couple of them to be able to get into the room of one to many. Or there are several conferences that you can go to. It only takes you attending a couple of them for you to get in the groove of one to many instead of doing this hustling nature online all day long. You don't have to settle for only that being part of your strategy. You can have both. I want you all to understand that two things can be true at one time. If you could just learn that lesson there in your adult life, that two things can be true at one time. You don't have to do either or. You can have both, and both can work very well. And you can be in a state of thriving and comfort to where it builds your legacy and it helps you add a little bit more cushion through your transitions of dollars and cents as you move in and day out. So I want you all to understand this, right? Go to these conferences, sign up to be a presenter, which means you may have to pay to play. And I know a lot of you all don't like to hear that, but it's very true. You may have to pay to play. For career professionals, tell your employer, hey, I need to pay to go do this so I can bring in more customers and sales. They'll pay for it. They'll pay for it and they'll mark it off as personal development for you. Tell them you're trying to reach new heights in your career. They'll pay for it. They will gladly pay for it if you tell them you're going to bring them some customers back. They sure will. And you go and you do your presentation. You go and you do your workshop. You go and you do your keynote, whatever the case may be. If you're doing a keynote, they paying you to be there, right? You're going and you're presenting your data or your works that you have been working on. Maybe it's a framework. Maybe it's a curriculum you've been working on. And you go and you present these things one to many to somebody. The thought that should be going through your mind is that you should do it so well when you're presenting one to many that by the time you get through presenting that one to many approach, even at networking events, right? By the time you get through doing that one to many approach, you should be walking out with at least 3 to 5 people on the low end that are like, I need to connect with you. I need to pay you. I need to book you. I need to learn more about what you do. I need to learn more about how I can get involved with your business. I need to do something. You should be walking out with the fruits of something if you go in and you do it correctly, right? And that's just you showing up in your authentic thought leadership that you would show up in on a daily basis anyway. So why not go in and turn that one-to-many approach into a few, not even a few thousand, some tens of thousands of dollars at one time? And book that out quarterly. Like if you were to book out at least one conference or at least one keynote or at least one workshop presentation a quarter, how much business could that yield you if there's like 100 people in the room and you go up there and you do what you need to do? How many networking events can you really go to that are intentional networking events? I'm not talking about these little parties to just take the pictures and just say I was there, because that's what some of them done turned into. I'm not talking about those. They're not beneficial. I'm talking about ones where you can make genuine connections. The connections make sense and they're ideal to your growth and your business development and your personal development, and they make sense. You all can create a thriving connection. Oh, you get a podcast feature, something that presents a one-to-many approach. Make it your business to add this to your strategy, to say, I'm going to do a one-to-many approach at least once or twice a quarter. And there's several ways that you can do that again, right? I just gave away two, the podcast and the professional development, the professional organizations, right? You could be a member, you could be on the board, whatever you decide you want to do. But get serious about your work and the impact that you want to make and just go deep in that, right? Which leads me into my next point of the three is going deeper, right? So this is number 3, going deeper. Hone in on 1 to 2 specialties and never let up. Drive them home until you are the go-to person in everyone who is speaking on, whether it's negatively or positively. You have to be okay with being disliked. You have to be okay with being disliked. You have to be okay with being compared. You have to be okay with being overlooked. You got to be okay with all of that. You can choose to go deep on 1 to 2 things that you know you go really, really hard on. I will speak on homegirl Sasha. If you all have not followed her or know who she is, Sasha Rosa, she's a health coach that focuses on feminine health, ovarian health of the feminine reproductive system. And when I tell you she goes deep, she goes deep. And she don't run out of content because she knows her stuff. She has helped several women get rid of their ovarian cysts, their fibroids. She has helped several women keep prevent them from going to get hysterectomy. She has helped them heal naturally, all because of everything that she knows and her gift of healing. She has gone deep into it, and she steady goes deep into it. She's always pulling up case studies. She's always pulling up studies. And that's her thing. Like, she is the go-to person if you want to heal your feminine reproductive system. If you know you're having issues with periods and bleeding longer than you should. If you have irregular cycles, you're having issues with those. Do you have to pay her? Absolutely. You gonna pay the doctor to give you prescription drugs that ain't gonna help you. You're gonna pay the doctor to give you a surgery that's not gonna help you, because fibroids and cysts can grow back even after you have a surgery. So why wouldn't you pay her what you would pay the doctor? And it wouldn't even be what you would pay the doctor for the surgery, because it would be less than that. But at least you would be healed. So this is my point, right? Those are my points. So those are the 3 things that you're going to do. You're either going to do one of the 3 or you're going to do a combination of the 3. I don't know where you are in your business journey or your professional development journey or career professional journey here in 2024, but a lot of you all have to start showing up better. You have to start showing up more intentionally, and you have to start being more focused about what it is that you want to deliver, so people can actually understand what it is that you're putting down, and they can truly like connect with it and dive in on it. You don't have to stay stuck. You can choose one of those 3 things, and like I said, do what you got to do. Again, you can go higher, go wider, or go deeper, whichever one you decide you need to do in your business. But a lot of you all need to determine this year whether or not you have a side hustle or you have a real business, because some of you all are not handling them accordingly. And I know for me, this year has probably been one of the most realest years that I realized, like, I haven't handled my business the way that I should have. But because I recognized that, because I held myself accountable and I owned up to that, I've gotten such a new level of clarity and discipline in my journey that I didn't have before, that I know exactly what I should be shooting for now. It's not that I didn't know before, but it's just way more clear now. So it's just something about when you become more intentional, when you become more serious about your development, um, the more clarity you get and the more confidence you get, because it's something that you really knew all along, but for whatever reason, you was just playing with it. You were just playing with it. And I know that there's several things, about time constraints and like being here, being there, doing this and do that. Listen, you're gonna have to figure it out and make it work. Let's just be clear. Because everybody don't have time, according to most of us, right? You're going to have to figure it out and make it work and make it work for you, but it will definitely pay off in the long run. So, what does that look like? If you are here under the sound of my voice, I know I am hosting my next event. I actually have two things coming up. If you want to take me for a spin, as far as trying to figure out getting clarity or confirmation or confidence around what your next move should be, from an award-winning advisor, you should be signing up for my $20 hot seat session. It's happening this week on Thursday. I will never do this again. I'm never going to offer $20 hot seats again. So if you are somebody who has been looking, you've been trying to figure out whether or not you want to work with me, what it is really that I do, you've heard some things about me, or you've seen some stuff on the timeline, take me for a spin. It's $20. It'll be the best $20 you've ever spent. There's only 20 spots. So once the 20 spots are taken, that's it. Your $20 allows you to come in and ask two very specific questions, so I can give you very well informed answers based off the information that you give me about what your next step should be in business, um, as you're working your way through your business journey. That's the first offer. The second offer is you can come to my in-person event, Confidence to Coins, happening June 15th here in Memphis, Tennessee. It's a one-day workshop. The early bird tickets are on sale until tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day for you to get $300 off your ticket. They're already marked as priced with the $300 off. So tomorrow is the last day for you to secure your ticket for that at the early bird price. May 1st, they go back up to regular price. Okay. So if you are somebody who wants a more um, customized strategy for their approach, this is the workshop for you to be in. It's a workshop from 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. And when I say it's a workshop, it is a workshop. We'll be doing instruction in the morning. I am going to feed you breakfast and lunch, and you are going to have snacks in the afternoon when we are doing our working session. You are going to work with the expert that is right there in the room. I'm not going to let you leave the room as you typically would at conferences or other workshops that have claimed to be those, and leave the room with overwhelming information that you have not yet been able to apply, or that by the time you get home, you're so overwhelmed and loaded down with information, you don't know what to do first. My goal is to have you leave the room with your customized strategy based on where you are in your business, whether you are elevating, expanding, or evolving. That's my personalized blueprint that I use in my business to tell me where you are. And my goal is to have you leave the room with a customized strategy for you to know exactly what you should be working on in your business upon leaving that room based off where you were and what we experienced in that workshop for that day. If you do not leave the room with that, I guarantee you I'm not going to leave you hanging. You will have a call booked with me until we get it figured out. Okay. So this is how serious I am about it. You are going to get your money's worth. And if you're a VIP, if you pay for the VIP experience, you'll get to come to a private dinner with me where I could talk with you a little bit more intimately about what it is that you're doing. So those tickets are still $300 off right now. They're already priced as March. You can click the link in my bio or in the first comment, and you'll be able to get access to the $20 hot seat as well as the tickets for Confidence, the coins. They are both there. So hopefully this brought you some insight as to what you should be paying attention to as you're elevating your business here in 2024. 2024 is not allotting you any time to play any more games. So if you're wondering if you should do it, you should. This is your green flag to let you know, hey, you need to go ahead and do the thing. You need to go ahead and be very laser focused, and you need to be more serious and more intentional about what it is that you're doing. You don't need to look for your peers for approval. You don't need to come to social media and ask us, hey, should I do? Nope, just do it. Apparently, you and God had a call, or else you wouldn't have been asking. So, if that's the case, you just need to show up and do it. But you need to be more strategic in your approach. And what I need to see more of is people actually asking for the sale. And that doesn't necessarily mean you just asking for the sale. There's different ways for you to do that. But you just posting certain things and not being direct about what it is that you're doing, quote unquote, um, it's not gonna work. Right? It's not gonna work. You need to be more direct in asking for the sale. And I need to be able to see that more amongst people. It doesn't have to be scary. If you would learn to just educate your audience, your educating of your audience would do the selling for you. But a lot of you just, I don't know. I don't know if you're scared that you know what you know. But the thing is, you know what you know. You didn't pay for all of these certifications, degrees, and all of those things just to get on here and not know what you know. The only time that you brag on yourself should not be a time to where somebody is insulting you and you have to puff up your chest and be like, well, they don't know who I am, X, Y, and Z. That shouldn't be the only time that you brag on yourself. Like, we should see you bragging on yourself daily. We should see you displaying your thought leadership daily. And I don't see that from a lot of people. I'm gonna be very honest. But it is what it is. So I know what my game plan is for me and myself personally. I know what my approach is. I have my content strategy. I have my 2 platforms that I'm going to go in pretty heavy on, and a couple of writing platforms, because God specifically told me that I'm going to get paid for something that I wrote, several things that I write. So I'm getting more serious about my ability to really be a great writer, as well as speaker, trainer, and trainer as well too. And that's just the route that I'm going into. So hopefully you all will come to several of my workshops, and as they help you on your business development and professional development journey, as I'm bringing those back out. And hopefully you will consider me as somebody who is worthy to guide you in that process. If not, whoever you determine, I hope that you get what you need from them so you can go be successful on your journey either way. So hopefully you got some good gems from this particular live. Remember to share this with somebody. If you need to come back and watch the replay will be here. It'll be posted across all of my channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram, so you can get whatever it is that you need. And I will see you all on the next live. Happy Monday. I hope y'all have a great week.